Why hello there, my dearest scent fiends. Welcome to another episode of Making Sense Make Sense, the podcast that is all about demystifying the wonderful world of fragrance. Everything's coming up, Thomas, because this is my podcast and I am very much your host. This podcast is a fantastic scented performance with an opening act of fragrant knowledge, followed by olfactory wit and banter in the second act, wrapping up in a delightfully scented encore. None of that made any sense, did it? Anyway, this, dear listeners, is the last episode in our first season of Making Sense Make Sense. Putting this podcast together has been a real labour of love, and I've really enjoyed it. I've loved meeting all of the wonderful guests we've had this season and having really insightful, fragrant chats. It's been a joy. I've had a blast. So how to end the season? Well, I wanted to pick up on an interesting fragrance trend that I've been seeing, a trend that doesn't sit within the realms of fine fragrance. Or does it? You see, there's an exciting thing happening in our industry where functional products, the likes of things like our washing detergents and body products, things where scent isn't always the first thing that comes to mind, are getting a fine fragrance makeover. We're seeing a number of brands pop up that want to create luxury scented experiences in products that otherwise would not be considered as luxury. And this is why I think we're seeing this filter up into almost the luxury brands as well, because we're seeing fine fragrance brands like BDK Parfum, Juliette Has a Gun, and Maison Francis Kurkdjian offering scented laundry detergents, which is really bougie, let's be real. I would love a Captain Kirk, i.e. Maison Francis Kurkdjian laundry detergent. That sounds wonderful. There are also new brands. We have brands like Tallow and Ash, who I see everywhere, who are putting the fragrance right at the center of their products, creating kind of a unique experience there. I think it's really interesting, especially when we start to look at deodorants. Now, if you're anything like me, you will not find deodorant to be particularly sexy or interesting. It is simply that thing you roll on or spray on before you put your clothes on, way before you douse yourself in a beautiful and exciting fragrance. But in truth, the choice in the deodorant market is absolutely appalling. They often smell cheap, and if you're a man, you're limited to a choice between very masculine, abstract olfactory concepts like Steel and Fresh Extreme, Ocean Rush and Ice Chill. I don't know about you, but I don't really resonate with any of those. I would not describe myself as Ice Chill. I'm never chill. I'm probably running on about DEFCON 10 most of the time. I think it's a miserable state of affairs. Well, I should say was a miserable state of affairs, because there are now a few brands out there who are looking to create effective functional deodorants that smell as good as a fine fragrance. And for me, there is no brand doing this in a more exciting and innovative way than AKT London. I came across AKT about a year ago when I saw their ads all over TikTok and Instagram, and I mean all over. Ed and Andy, I'm sure you won't mind me saying that I do sometimes feel like I see you more than I see my own family. The ads are out there. I enjoy them. And also everyone was really raving about their deodorant balm, so I had to try it. But I will say that I was completely dubious that a balm, because it is a deodorant balm, it's not a spray or a roll-on, would A, work, and B, smell nice. Also, I don't know about you, but my armpits are sensitive, whiny little bitches who threaten to break out in an itchy rash if I so much as even think of switching deodorant. So it was a big gamble for me. But Axe deodorant balm is an absolute game changer. It lasts and lasts and lasts, so much so that I'm not convinced that there isn't witchcraft involved, because it really does last. What's more, each of the fragrances smell fantastic with these kind of evocative, high quality scents that make you want to waft your arms around so that you can smell them throughout the day. I'll be honest, I'm not being hyperbolic here. I'm just a total convert, and I now worship at the altar of AKT. This is not a sponsored podcast episode. It is not a paid promotion. I'm just really interested in what they're doing. And I think I was really keen to speak to Ed and Andy about how they've approached making a functional product with a fine fragrance lens and how they've extended this to other body products in their expanding range. So that's exactly what I did. And we had a really fun conversation that may involve four gay gasps. But before we get to that interview, you'll notice that I don't have adverts or sponsors for season 1 of this podcast, which means you get a nice uninterrupted listen. I do, however, have a tipping service if you'd like to support me and the running costs of the podcast. You can do that by going to coffee.com/making sense make sense. That's ko-fi.com/making sense make sense. Again, a huge thank you to everybody who has supported me so far. I really appreciate it. It does help keep the podcast on the air. Now, let's get to the discussion. This is Making Sense Make Sense with Ed Currie and Andy Coxon, founders of AKT London. Ed, Andy, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you in our office.
Always.
Pleasure to be here. You've created a really exciting brand with functional products for the body that do what other similar products don't, which is they smell really good. There's also a really great story about how you met and how AKT came into being. But before we get to that, I wanted to know, are you fragrance people?
100%.
Absolutely. I have a shelf of them.
Good, because this would have been really awkward and a very short podcast.
Imagine,
if
I
you'd
can't
said no.
bear it.
No, see you later.
I feel sick when I hear fragrance.
Get off my podcast. So is it something you've always been interested in, something that's important to you?
I wouldn't say I was always interested in it. I remember when I was performing at the Palladium, obviously stage door was opposite Liberty. So on my breaks or before work, I'd just spend quite a lot of time in their little fragrance section, which is now expanded and is wonderful.
And is next door.
And is next door again.
That's dangerous.
Yes,
Full
very.
circle. But yeah, it was really fun exploring new niche fragrances there that weren't kind of the mainstream ones. So I think that's kind of what started me off in fragrance. But I was 22 then, so before that, really didn't have much interest. What about you, Andy?
I think back through life and fragrance has always been there. Do you remember those tiny little gift sets you used to get given as a kid for...
Not Lynx Africa.
No, the little glass bottles.
Yeah, they had
little
minis,
vials.
like
Yes.
4 or 5 like Calvin
then
Klein
you
minis.
And just like you have to dab it on your feel like back in the day when you thought that aftershave was proper like post-shave, dab it on your hands like what's his name in Home Alone. I've always kind of thought about fragrance and had it, and then I think my first major constant purchase was Paco Rabanne 1 million at 19 years old.
Yeah.
Love it.
And it was the I'm a lad
Yeah.
scent.
You're still a lad.
Yeah.
Still a
How's
lad.
that going for you, the lad?
We're the opposite way now. We found the true me.
But I think it was when we started making the deodorant in the kitchen, because we were playing around with essential oils and understanding how to blend those. And the first fragrance we made is different to what we launched, but that's kind of, we took a long time creating that fragrance. Funny story, when we took it to the fragrance house to be like, oh, can you reproduce this for the product we're making? It was like completely not compliant, not safe to put on the skin.
Set off all the IFRA alarm bells.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the ingredients was like now a banned...
It was like extinct, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were like protecting that species of plant. And they were like, I think you're going to come in at like £400 a kilogram if you want to do this. So we were like, no!
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
10 times what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was quite fun. And that really the intrigue started from then.
The kitchen really was like this kind of meth lab testing ground, and you were just testing from interest, weren't you? And lots of things were led by candle fragrance. We had our, what was that, Ciré Trudon candle that we were given once. That was our first experience of the most bougie candle.
Yeah,
And everything
80
was like-
whole pounds
Yes.
it was.
That is very
We were
bougie.
given it, but everything was like geared towards that level of fragrance around that time, wasn't it? Like let's make it a bit more elite.
Yeah, and that's your founder story of how you created AKT is almost legendary, because it's one of the best stories I've heard, and I'm sure you're probably bored of telling everybody it a million times.
Never.
Never. We love to talk about it. But could you share how you met and how you ended up creating AKT together?
So we met in 2014, end of 2014, in rehearsals for a show called Beautiful, the Carole King musical.
10 years ago.
And that was on at the Old Witch in the West End. We were playing the Righteous Brothers, so we'd have to sing "You Never Close Your Eyes Anymore." And during rehearsals, we got to know each other very well. #wink. And then we started living together. But it was during that show, the frustration of deodorant came about. You're wearing the same costume 8 shows a week, under hot lights, you're dancing. A lot of those costumes have been worn by previous cast members. So it gets pretty smelly, and just nothing was working for me. And there's a story when I was on stage in a chorus line at the Palladium, And that's a big dance show. And everybody in that show wears a leotard, except for my character, who wears a nice woolen jumper.
Joy.
And my co-star, after one of the dance routines, just turned to me and was like, Ed, you fucking stink. And it wasn't my fault. It was the jumper. And just nothing was working. I tried to find something to work and just nothing was working. And so it just became a big frustration.
So then, did they not wash the clothes then?
They couldn't wash that jumper, so they sprayed it with alcohol every day.
Most costumes are like bespoke items that are handmade with certain bits on. You can't just throw them in the washing machine.
Okay.
So they either steam them just to clear bacteria or Febreze them.
Yep.
And it's just either masking, it's never truly clean, and it is 8 shows a week. You cannot wash it that often.
So at a West End show, it basically hums backstage.
Basically,
really bad.
I was in Les Mis and I was handed what they said was the most expensive jacket that was made. It's handed down to me. That show's been running for now 30 years.
Wow.
So you can imagine when it gets hot in those armpits, just there's an absolute
It's like a
bed of grossness.
Like a not fancy sourdough starter that's just been just kept going for years.
Disgusting.
Yeah, yeasty.
Yeah, so that kind of that was the trigger. A friend of mine, I was complaining to him about how much I smelled, and he was like, "Oh, I make my own," and sent me this very basic recipe from this hippie mom's blog. It was 3 ingredients. I mixed it together, slapped it on my armpits, and got this massive rash and boils. But it worked in terms of, like, I didn't smell as much as I normally did. And I was throwing away T-shirts every few weeks because, you know, with aluminium salts, you get that claggy stain in the underarms and you can't wash it out. So, yeah, I started making it in the kitchen. And every week I'd just, like, try something else, do a bit more research, buy in that ingredient, change the levels. This one was too sloppy. That one was too hard. This one made my shirts grey. And we did that over the course of 3 years. And Andy was my main test subject.
This was not the plan.
Yeah.
At all, in the slightest. If you'd have told us we'd be sat here right now doing this in this office, we'd have been like, no, that was stupid. We were purely just interested in fixing our own problem. Yeah. So when it got to the point of you had the formula that was working, we were giving it to friends and family and cast members, and they were like, oh, that's really good. Can I buy some off you? So you'd be making these big batches on the hob, selling £200 worth a month, and you'd be like, brilliant, we're poor actors, that's a nice little sideline. Yeah. Then we thought, maybe this will become a sideline. Maybe we sell it on Etsy, but we still need a bit of money to manufacture. We were going to kick out our housemate at the time and turn his room into the fulfillment room.
Sorry, Billy.
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
He does now.
He does now.
Then we did a Kickstarter campaign to raise a bit of money to do it, gave a sample to everyone in the West End, asked them to post about it on the day it went live, and within the first day, we'd hit our target of £15,000. By the end of the month, we'd raised 3,000 orders, and it just became bigger than we could have done at home. So Billy survived that cull. And we had to find a factory and a warehouse and start going down that route of making it. Then lovely COVID came along. I was performing at the time. I was playing Tony in West Side Story. That obviously completely closed. Ed was a personal assistant at the time, so the freelance world just collapsed. And we said, oh, we've actually got a little bit of a lifeline here. Let's pay our rent from what we've made and sit down 9 to 5 and make this a business that will still launch in May, that we'd always said, May 2020. And from that day, we've not really left our laptops, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And we are genuinely loving it because every day is new. It's a new world.
And it was around the time you did the Kickstarter, you had a kind of a fortuitous cease and desist letter.
Yes.
Skipped
it was
bit.
After that. Yeah, so it was a completely different brand name and brand aesthetic before. We were kind of embarrassed as musical theatre performers that people wouldn't take us seriously. You know, 2 actors making a deodorant. Why would they listen to us? So that original brand included nothing about us. And we obviously did the Kickstarter. And a few months later, we got a lawyer's letter through the post, which was like, cease and desist. You're using a trademarked brand name.
Bearing in mind, we did the Kickstarter to raise legal fees to be able to trademark a name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite catch-22.
Yeah, and like obviously we were so defeated. Like we just placed an order for 30,000 tins. And then we were like...
Creatively dead as well, because we'd put everything into it.
Yeah.
We knew nothing else. We didn't know what else it could be.
Yeah, but it was the best thing that ever happened to us.
The best thing.
Yeah.
We found this design agency that we'd kind of followed for a while. We really admired them. We'd reached out to a few agencies and just, heard like, no, you guys don't have any money. So,
Go away.
But for some reason, this agency were like, yeah, let's have a chat. And we told them our story. And they were like, this is maybe the best founding story we've ever heard.
Legendary, some might say.
And why aren't you talking about it? Like, you guys should be front and center of this brand. Like, who else knows more about smelling than two performers in the West End? So we asked them to help us come up with a new name. And I remember that day, they kind of went through a few different names on their presentation. And me and Andy looked at each other like, oh my God, these are rubbish. But then ACT appeared on the screen, AKT. And we were like, oh my God, it's been staring us in plain sight this whole time. Of course it should be ACT. We were actors. It makes total sense. We both did a little gay gasp when it flashed up. And so it was the best thing. They were like, lean into this. So all of the typography on the boxes you can see it's all inspired by the old theatre marquees, individual letters. Our tagline is born to perform because we were born to perform and the product was born to perform. All of our fragrances are named after scenes in script, and it's written S01E08, which stands for exterior.
Little
not for
nods to
exit.
theatre, isn't it? Just all those. It's not a product for performers, which some people think, because everyone wears deodorant. So why would you even think that? But some people think, oh, that's the deodorant for dancers. No, if you know, you know. But if you don't know, some people have no idea. Or they'll say AKT, and they'll.
You guys are from AKT.
Yeah. So we just wanted to cleverly weave it in, and those guys nailed it. So like I say, best thing that could happen to us.
Yeah. And it works. It's very cohesive. And just for the benefit of the listeners, can we get a gay gasp? Just so they know.
And one from you, Tom.
Same
Stunning.
key. All together now. 1, 2, 3.
So you create this really great deodorant balm that works. The next consideration then is scent or fragrance. And I think with lots of deodorants, the fragrance is an afterthought. It's very, very samey. They're always something breeze, something, whatever.
War.
Fresh linen.
Yeah, exactly. And
Sports for that.
And links is a swear word on this podcast, so I won't say it. Yeah. But at what point did the fragrance element of that become important?
I think from the beginning.
From the beginning, yeah.
I didn't want to smell like a teenage boy anymore. And that was the only option in any supermarket, in any drugstore.
Yeah. Synthetic smells as well. You get the supermarket, you got two sides of the deodorant aisle. One is whites and pastels and flowers, and the other one is silver, black, war. And you're like, ugh, that's my options, right? A lot of guys in theatre would be using women's deodorant just because it smells a little bit nicer. It's a bit more bearable.
Yeah.
But it was always so like, back of your throat, claggy, horrible syntheticness.
Yeah. And so when we started making the deodorant, we it was kind of an accident that it was natural, because that was what we had access to. And that was what was being most efficacious for us. And then when we started developing the fragrance as well, we were like, oh, well, we'll stick to this. We'll just use natural. We'll just use essential oils. That is not the case now, because our education around ingredients has grown a lot more. Natural doesn't always mean safe.
Indeed.
And so when we then looked to work with a fragrance house, and they taught us about this stuff, and we started creating the first 3 fragrances, scenes 1, 2, and 3, and it was really fun working with them. It was a very different way of working. So obviously we didn't know how to brief a fragrance house, never done it before, never worked with them, didn't even know they existed until
yeah, how the hell to do this? It's not just guys in the kitchen throwing
every day's a school day.
Yeah, literally.
And so we thought, well, how do we kind of communicate to them what we want? And so we did what we know how to do best, and we wrote scripts. We wrote these full scene descriptions. We wrote characters. We wrote in emotions and a bit of dialogue about how we wanted it to feel. So normally at a fragrance house, there's a sort of middleman, your account manager. Yeah. The noses at the fragrance house are very protected people. And we submitted this brief, but the nose wrote back to us and was like, this is the best brief I've ever had. This is going to be so much fun. Thank you so much. And then again, we decided to take those scripts and we condensed them down and we put it on the side of the packaging. So
that's what you see.
If you read it on the box, if you're ever on the toilet and you've forgotten your phone, but the box of deodorant is there.
I hate that comment.
Back in the old, that's what we used to do back in the day. The shampoo bottle.
Never have. It's not a scent description. It's a scene description.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. You've got the scenes for each fragrance. How do those concepts start for you?
Ooh, very good question. The first 3 scenes we wanted to create something quite different for each fragrance, but we also wanted a through line. So for me, that through line was quite a citrusy note. I love really fresh, natural fragrances. And actually, when we first launched the brand, those 3 fragrances were fully natural. And we can talk about the problems that ensued because of that. But creating those fragrances, we wanted a different feel for each one. I wanted a really fresh, orangey smell for scene 1. Scene 2, we were inspired by like a walk after a thunderstorm, hence the name After Thunder. And then scene 3 is called the onsen, inspired by the natural Japanese hot spring. So it's a sort of more oriental, citrusy. We've got yuzu, vetiver. It's a really calming, spa-like fragrance.
We missed a step out before that, though, because we were given the colours of the brand.
Oh, yeah.
And so the colours of the boxes, which are very bold and vibrant and very not on the same spectrum, ignited this, what fragrance does that sort of pull up, so we could build a scene around these colours. And the paper house that we use for this card has a really limited colour wheel, but it's the most beautiful colours. So the next fragrances that you see have also been us going, what colour looks great in the brand, and what does that pull up for us? For example, scene 4 is the colour of the Aegean Sea, so we've gone for that sort of holiday, vacationing in the Mediterranean or Greek islands, all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. So the colours a lot of the time is the starting point for the fragrance concept.
And also what fragrances do we like and want? And how do we make that more elevated, and what colour would that match? For example, one that's coming out is inspired by a place we've been visiting a lot recently. Shan't say any more. So we've kind of gone backwards on that one. So there's always a starting point, be it an actual experience or a colour or what are we missing from our own personal fragrance way.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, I suppose. Now you've got a good selection of fragrances. Is your next thought process around, well, what have we not got in the collection that would be a gap that needs filling, I guess?
It can be that. Yeah. Sometimes it comes from just a stimulus that we find quite exciting, and we work backwards from there. So the next fragrance that we're launching, and this is probably an exclusive.
Exclusive.
But we can talk about it because it should have now launched. Is inspired by an old Noel Coward play, which I loved when I was at college.
I've only just learned that most of the quotes Ed said through our 10-year friendship is from that play.
It all makes sense now.
Rather.
I like that. And also, I really wanted to create this sort of quintessentially British summertime fragrance. So I wanted to include like Earl Grey, bergamot, plump apricots and crisp apple, marmalade, and English rose. And Hay Fever, the name of the play and the name of the fragrance, encapsulates that as a play as well. And also my experience of a quintessential British summertime is that I have really severe allergies.
Yes.
And I quite liked that it was funny. Like, when we first told the team, we were like, the next fragrance is going to be called Hay Fever. It was a bit like, are you guys okay?
But when you see it and hear why, and the fragrances that the play alludes to, you're in a rose garden in this stately home, the old chaotic family home.
Yeah.
It's got a real rustic countryside British afternoon tea feeling to it, and the colour that's inspired that as well is the Wimbledon-esque tennis ball colour, which is the colour you'll see, which is chartreuse.
Yeah.
Obviously a greenery vibe, but it's the colour of a tennis ball.
Yeah. So that's been a really fun one to create, but that didn't come from the colour first. That kind of came from the concept.
Correct.
But there is the one that's coming out next year, which is very much inspired by. Well, actually, it kind of came at the same time. It was a bit of a love letter to a city that we very much enjoy.
Yeah, don't give away too much.
Okay.
I was watching the next episode.
What can we say? Nothing more.
So I think it's good to say that the way we're working is the more we develop these, the more we get something that comes in that we've briefed, that we've gone, that's not what I've asked for, but it's fucking good. So let's shelve it and we will work around that. So again, we might have chosen colour, we might have chosen scene, we might already have a scent that's been given to us from our own inspiration that we then start to use in another format. So the whole thing is so creative.
Yeah.
And there's no real boundaries or formula in how to do it.
No. And it's a real skill as well. And are you finding that you're much more confident with that fragrance development side of it now? Do you know more of the language? Are you more confident in what you want? Has that changed a lot for you?
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy it now. And I think I'm quite discerning about what I want. I know inherently like what it is that I'm after. And so when submissions come in, because you get sent quite a lot of submissions and then you go through a lot of reworking. So sometimes it takes like 7 rounds of nailing what you want. And sometimes, you get one submission and the base note of that is great, but the top notes just aren't quite working. But actually the top notes in another one are working really well. So you kind of blend those together. And it's been really fun to learn more about fragrance, to be able to articulate better about fragrance. Because there's no real sort of science to it. It's more creative. Actually, that's why I love your Instagram, is because the way you talk about fragrance is really accessible. It's not trying to paint it as this very serious thing, but it's more like, accessible. And that's what I want to do with ours as well. Like the scene descriptions, on this hay fever one of the notes in the base is generational wealth. just to get people feeling and emoting with it and understanding what we're trying to go for. And it's a little bit funny.
Ed's got a very special nose, and an infuriating nose, because he'll be able to tell you from the next room if you've not brushed your teeth. So I think it works that you're diving in this manner and learning now how to grapple that talent, essentially.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun the way you talk about fragrance in your description. So you kind of just alluded to it now, but I was looking at the boxes earlier. And for Orange Grove, you've got notes of sliced orange and Neroli Blossom, obviously, fragrance materials, but also Afternoon Siesta and Tuscan Sun. Was it important for you to talk about moods and feelings and not just materials?
Definitely.
I think fragrance brings up so many memories. There is a certain smell of a damp wood that takes me straight back to my friend's garden, and it's every time I walk past a certain fence where I live, I can smell it. And I think those elements that you put in there, Tuscan Sun, you might never have been to Tuscany, you might have been, or you go, oh, I recognise, my holiday in Mallorca, and you can send yourself there, and that's what fragrance should be. It's transcending. It's not 2D. All of these deodorants that are out there, these natural deodorants, are so flat level of fragrance that we wanted to just expand it and make it feel like a perfume.
I wanted it to feel like a piece of theatre as well. That's obviously our route. I want our customers to feel like they're the audience and they're being taken on a journey through a play, through a scene. I want them to feel like they're part of it and to emote with it just as though they're watching a piece of theatre. And so that's why we describe different notes, not in a literal way, but in a sort of fun,
sexy.
Metaphorical, sexy.
It's hard to describe fragrance, though.
It is.
Because it's different to everybody. It's subjective.
Yeah.
Some people might hate something that we love, and vice versa. So we've had to create a spectrum of fragrance from, and I hate to be binary with it, but from masculine to feminine. But we're allowing you to choose what you like. And our most masculine scent is the most popular in women, and vice versa. We haven't labelled it. And I think everything has its own world in your head.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
I think this is the biggest challenge for brands, because there is no set language for smell. We have to borrow from our other senses, from touch and taste, and from sight for colour and things like that. I think it's something that you do really, really well in terms of making that accessible for people so they can understand what it is that they're going to smell.
This is a really fascinating conversation. I just want to say that because we don't really talk about this side of what we've done.
Yeah.
It's always about what we've done as founders. It's not really diving into the individual element of fragrance.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, well, I'm good. Glad you're enjoying
I'm happy to be here.
Good. Great.
I'm not leaving.
Phew.
I might do soon.
That is reassuring. Thank you. But I think it's one of the things that I think makes your products stand out in the marketplace is that you have got high quality fragrances. It's not an afterthought. Would now be a really good time to smell the new one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shall I
yeah,
go
it's
get
the
it?
blind smell.
Let's do it.
You can hold a tennis ball at the same time.
To get the full experience.
We're calling it a limited run because it's a limited edition.
Okay.
Limited run like a play.
God.
Ed is currently spraying a fragrance stick. Right, give it a sniff.
Okay.
Well,
Would
you've
you
got
like me to read this
describe
out as you smell it?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Hay fever. Oh, there's nowhere like England in the summer. Recline slovenly in your favourite deck chair and let the garden's charms waft over you. Roses, sage, freshly cut grass. Perhaps a spot of Earl Grey tea. A tad more marmalade on toast. Whatever you do today, do it all winsomely, darling. At first, crisp apple, marmalade, the most lovely mood. And then, a splendid English garden. Earl Grey, plump apricots. Finally, cashmere, soft leather, and generational wealth. What bliss.
That was really good. Have you ever thought about a career in acting?
Maybe. I need a copy of that.
This is really interesting. It's very sticky jammy, like fruity. I'm getting the marmalade quite a lot.
Go on, carry on. This is your putting you to
my
the
time
test
to
now.
perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of that, and I get the bergamot, which is my favourite thing. I love the smell of bergamot and Earl Grey tea.
It smells so good in the air. This.
You're gonna love it, kids.
But the thing is, it's what's kind of blowing my mind a little bit is smelling this on the strip. Obviously, I'm not smelling it in the balm. It smells like a fine fragrance. So in my head, this is no different from a fragrance, and that's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. It's that level of quality and complexity.
No one does that in deodorant, and why?
Well, because we're doing it.
Exactly. No, but why has
doing
no
it
one done
well.
that before? Why is it always a little second thought?
Yeah.
The deodorant is one of the most
I
used
can
things.
probably tell you why, and I think it's to do with cost. Like, if you look at
Yes.
most deodorants on the market, they're what, £2, £1 on offer in
Sprays
Superdrug.
and roll-ons.
And
Yeah.
so the fragrance aspect, which is the biggest driver of the cost for us, because they're still very expensive
Yes.
per kilogram. It's not for those deodorant brands. It's very cheap. That's why it's very synthetic smelling. And we love to blend naturals and synthetics. And we could probably talk about why that is. You get a lot of customers that are sort of natural heroes. When you tell them that our fragrances aren't fully natural, they seem to think that synthetic means like toxic waste that's going to kill them.
Danger.
Yeah, and actually it's the opposite. So essential oils, you'll know this, Tom, but I'll tell you, listeners, essential oils can be some of the most dangerous chemicals on the planet. They're a real mixture of different chemicals, linalool, citral, and you see all the allergens have to be listed on the inky list on the back of the box. And so what we've learned over time is that synthetics can be safer for the skin, that they can be more sustainable, and they're chemically, exactly the same as some of the chemicals in essential oils. And you also get a bigger breadth of fragrance. Like naturals is very limited, so you don't get this wonderful breadth of fragrance there. So that's why we started to work with synthetics as well.
Plus the crops change.
Oh yeah, oh my God, that's what I was going
We
to
had
say.
a mega issue with that in the early days.
Yeah, so with our scene through the onsen, we have vetiver in there. And for some reason, the crop in 2021 was just spoiled. The soil changed and it smelled like a bonfire.
Oh.
And I don't know how it got through QC. Nobody checked it and said anything was wrong.
Was
And
it
so-
the onsen?
Yeah,
It was
the
scene
onsen,
3,
yeah.
the blue tube.
And we launched it, and then all the customers was like, "This smells awful. What have you done? Why did you change
Is
the
it?
fragrance?" And we identified it was because of the vetiver
crop.
essential
Wow.
oil. So that kind of triggered us.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Well, we can't have this. We need to be able to have consistency
It's too
every
volatile.
time."
When
Yeah.
you're doing the amounts that we do now, you just
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
manage that.
Yeah.
What else is lavender oils
Oh, yeah, can melt
plastic?
and-
Why would you
Yeah.
want to put that? Especially on your armpits, you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine. I remember him posting on Instagram that he was going to have a really luxurious bath, and he found some oregano oil that he was going to put in the bath.
Oh.
And oregano oil is a banned substance, and you cannot put it on skin because it's so reactive. It causes terrible
Good
skin
antibacterial.
reactions. Yeah, lovely if you've got a sore throat. Don't ingest it.
I used to do it on shows and put it in my hands and
Yeah,
breathe it.
breathe it in. Really good if you've got an infection.
Yeah.
But on the skin, terrible. And then he posted a picture of him post bath, and he was red raw because he just
cooked
thought,
himself.
Yeah, he thought because it's an essential oil, it's safe.
Yeah.
And it ain't, kids.
Yeah, it's got to be careful. We had to change all of our fragrance levels when IFRA changed the standards, didn't we? We had to reformulate. It went down from like 4% to 0.3, and you're like, fuck, that's you're not going to smell that. So you have to work with that.
Yeah, you have to be very adaptable to it. And think about naturals as well. Like you say, you have a very limited palette in terms of what you can use, but also they're not necessarily the most sustainable product because you're taking things out of nature. Yeah. So if you're using real vanilla, for example, then obviously you're using vanilla, which is mostly grown in Madagascar. There's lots of like political and issues around that. But if you use vanillin as a synthetic, then that comes from a waste product from the paper industry. So actually, it could be more ecological to use an aroma chemical than a natural at times.
It's like candles moved to using soy wax. Then now soy is being overcropped, and you're like, everything's going to go in these circles of, which is fine. Like move around, don't just ruin one ingredient, plant, whatever. Yeah, sustainability. Yeah, got to be careful.
Which brings me on to my next question. So there's obviously a big emphasis with the brand being plastic free, which I think is brilliant because we all use way too much plastic, utilising the aluminium packaging. Is that sustainability something that you think about with the fragrance materials as well?
I wouldn't say as much. So when we talk with our fragrance house, when we develop a new fragrance, we often say to them, you need to look at the sustainability of the materials that you're using. If that crop, if it's not sustainable, then we're happy to use the synthetic alternative.
Yeah, or where it's farmed from. Just know its source origin.
It's really hard for a brand to be sustainable across every single facet of the business. Yeah. And so what we kind of pioneer and what we shout about is the plastic-free element of our packaging. And that's even really difficult to do. Like plastic is a fantastic material. It's flexible, it's strong. Aluminium, as some of our customers will know, cracks if you fold it too much, if you don't roll it carefully. And aluminium on aluminium doesn't create a really good seal. So we've had a lot of issues over the years because we said that we were going to be plastic free. And that's been a real pain in the bum. Yeah. But on the other side of that, I feel really good that we've not put any plastic into the environment, and we've sold, millions of units. Yeah. So happy days.
Our aim is just to make it easier for the consumer to be green. We're not going to sit here and wave the flag and say we're the most sustainable company. Yes, we're a natural deodorant, but we're not here to tell everyone off. We're here to just say this is what we're doing. Yeah. We're taking responsibility for what we're putting out there.
Yeah. And then the consumer can make the choice, can't they? Yeah, absolutely.
It's up to you if you recycle it or not.
Yeah.
Put it in the bin.
Yeah. Yeah. It's your choice, but we will judge you. From afar.
Yes.
So you've branched out into other products now. So you've got body scrubs, shower concentrates, and other things. And you're putting your existing fragrances into those products. And does that present in itself an interesting challenge because you're working with a different base? And Ed is looking at me like the stress of like,
oh my god, it's
we
so
thought
stressful.
It'd be easy, didn't we?
Yeah,
you just think. I think naively you think, if it smells that good in that thing, then it'll smell
the same. Yeah.
Pop it in there.
Honestly, it's a nightmare. I have been through about 15 rounds of the scrub for our halcyon summers, and it's still not right. And I don't know what it is about the base that is.
It's probably partly because it's got sugar in it, so it's quite sweet.
I don't know.
I don't know why I'm saying like I'm a scientist. I know the problem.
You said it so confidently though.
And also like the chemical composition of some of the fragrances. So we've had a real issue with our Orange Grove trying to make it into a normal like sort of hand and body wash. We've been doing this for 3 years and we haven't got anywhere. And it's because we've got too many naturals in the fragrance that it basically like decomposes the base. So we get it back and it's like water. It should be a lovely thick gel, and it comes back and it's runny, it's brown, it's watery, and we're like, what is going on? And it's taken us and our formulators years to identify what it is, that eventually we just parked the project. We're like, this is too hard to make a shower gel. It's ridiculous.
Working backwards from something you've already made is the hard bit.
Yeah.
You know it's good.
Yeah.
So how do you make that work in another format?
Yeah.
And then added to that, IFRA, the International Fragrance Association, for those that don't know.
Not an affiliate.
Every few years they change their
Yeah.
compliance. So, 1 year you can have this much percentage of this chemical, and the next year, actually, no, you can't have that. You have to reduce it, and depending on where you put it on the body as well, it's different on the armpits, different on the face, different on the body. So companies that work with fragrance are always reformulating. Every few years they have to reformulate to be compliant with the industry standard. And that's a nightmare. Chanel No. 5 is apparently very, very different now to what it was when it first launched years ago.
From the Orig.
Yeah, and it's 4 different fragrances as well, because the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum and the X-Ray are all created at different moments in time. So they're all different formulas.
But that's another thing. Sometimes you get a submission where it's like 1.75% fragrance and the other one is 1.5% fragrance. And the difference, even though it's the same base, but the difference in what you can smell is just wild.
Yeah. And you're working against that consumer of expectation of it should smell the same every time I buy the product, or if I'm buying the body scrub and the deodorant balm, it should smell the same. It's really tough to achieve that.
It is my biggest nightmare of this job.
But I think also we're putting the care into actually really wanting to love these fragrances. We could have very easily just gone, that'll do. We just need 4 more scents. Let's choose these ones because someone will like them.
Yeah, you could have bought them off the shelf if you really wanted to, couldn't you?
Literally, we could have done that with everything we've done. But Ed and I want it to be good. We refuse to put anything out there that is not good. We've said that. I don't care enough about deodorant to have changed my career. Do you know what I mean? I'm just passionate about what we're doing and loving it. And if it's not got our passion in it, what's the point?
Exactly.
Can you smell the passion?
What notes would you use for passion?
Coffee.
Coffee, stress, desperation.
Yes.
You've come on a real journey then from creating products in the kitchen. Has ACT changed how you think about fragrance generally?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's really difficult now to find a fragrance that I love.
Yes.
Are you more analytical now when you smell something? You're like,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And because I know so much more about how fragrances are made as well, I'm like, oh, well, this is maybe a dupe, or this is on trend at the moment, so they've tried to create something. Yeah. Like Gourmand is having such a moment.
I can't bear Gourmand.
Can you not?
I know, it's very difficult to.
I don't like sweet things.
I can't imagine it would work in a deodorant either. Gourmand.
Well, we're actually trying to create something.
Okay.
And I suppose that is the
very close.
Yeah.
I actually do like that. As well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can have a smell later of that one. I'd love to get your opinion.
Offline.
But yeah, it's I find it very hard to find a fragrance that I love. And so my fragrance shelf at home is quite limited.
He doesn't buy them, he just smells them.
Yeah, well, that's it. When you work in beauty, you don't have to pay for stuff. You get free things. And because I love what I've created, and, I've got loads of bottles on the shelves here which are EDP versions of the fragrances that are in the deodorants, and I love them. Why would I want to wear somebody else's brand when I think mine's great?
We have the staples that we're inspired by. We always, when we're over in America, we always go to the Diaz and Durga stores, or Byredo's always been a huge inspiration for us. Even like Aesop's famous hand soap, you go, God, that smell is so iconic.
Yeah.
And that's the level I think we've pitched ourselves at, and where we will remain at as new products come.
And before we finish, what advice would you give to someone who perhaps has developed a great idea, not necessarily a deodorant bar, or product, and is wanting to take it to market and make it a reality? Having been on that journey yourself.
Oh, don't.
I honestly,
it's not worth it. Don't do it.
I honestly find it a really hard question, because this is our first business. This whole thing has been a real happy accident.
Yeah.
That, yes, we've learned a hell of a lot, but we were very lucky. I say lucky, we've worked fucking hard. But we had a story that wasn't fabricated, that you can't fabricate. We had a product that worked accidentally. We didn't go, what's the gap in the market? Who's my target audience? How many products am I releasing? If your product is needed and you genuinely believe in it, then put your effort into it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's such a saturated
It's so
market.
hard.
Yeah.
This is a hard business.
Yeah.
And unless you're an influencer with 5 million followers, I don't know. I don't want to put people off.
Well, you just did.
I just did. I didn't. No, but I don't mean that, because if you're passionate, but if you're passionate about business and all that side of things, absolutely do it. I've now become passionate about business, but I wasn't.
I think the mistake that I see some entrepreneurs make is that they rely on other people to do the work.
That's very
true. For a skill set that perhaps they don't have. They're like, oh, well, I'll pay somebody to do it. Let me tell you, you're not going to have any money at the beginning.
No.
And people will always let you down at the beginning. Like, nobody does a better job than you if you've got the passion to do it. And so for me and Andy, everything we did when we started this business was us. We built the website, and it's still the same website. We'd never built a website before, but we learned how to do it. We built the financial models. Had never seen a spreadsheet in my life, not since year 7. And we learned how to do it. We learned how to build the emails and the CRM. We did everything ourselves, mainly because we had no money to pay anybody else. And we did try paying other people, and we just be like, "Oh my god!"
You end up unpicking.
Serious?
Yeah.
Like,
just more work in the end.
Not what I asked you to do.
But I think that also comes from our theatre background. Like, that's kind of what it's like. You've got to figure stuff out. You don't want to be in a room where the director's having to tell you everything, because that director's never going to work with you again. You've got to bring the ideas. You've got to be thinking about where your prop is in the next scene. Where's my quick change going to be? It's all problem solving. And also, like, the theatre world, you don't have a job in 2 weeks. They can be like, oh, the show's getting cancelled, you have nothing in 2 weeks. And so you just go and find another job and just do it and learn what skills you need to do that. That would be my biggest advice. Like, don't rely too much on other people.
And I also think doing it on your own, I would not be able to do this on my own. We're lucky that we had each other to do this. It's been so hard, but we networked as well. We met people, and this is a really nice industry for people helping and introducing you to people. So we always networked and helped other people.
And with that, the willingness to learn. You get too many egos. Like, if you think you already know something better than everybody else, it just stops you from learning from anyone.
Pointless point of view.
So we always say in our business, we're never at the top of the ladder. We don't know bloody anything. And so we're willing to learn from the people that we meet.
We're the vision. We want the experts to help us execute it. And we're finally at the stage of being able to get those experts in to take it to the next level, where we are leading the show. We are saying what we want it to be and how, and luckily we know enough about every element of the business to get to the point that they can then take it to I don't care about KPIs and spreadsheets. I don't want to see them.
But it's important.
It's very important.
But it's worth noting, it's taken us 9 years to get here. Like, I started making it 2016. So it's not a fast track.
It's not an overnight success.
No.
It's much more than that.
So my number one piece of advice is just don't stop learning. And just go with it. Go with it. If you really believe in that product, go with it. Go and learn. Go and speak to people. Just do not become egotistical or rest on your laurels, because what's the fucking point?
And sort of know your skill set, because you've both got very different skills that you bring, but knowing where your skills stop and go, we need an expert for that.
I need help there.
We can tell them what we want, but we need someone to come and deliver that for us.
Just when we then reached out to people to be like, hi, I don't know how to do, I don't even know an example. I mean, supply chain, for example, we had no bloody clue. Awful. So you just get the help, and hopefully they are the right person.
And finally, what's next for ACT? Can we expect more exciting scented experiences in the future?
Yes.
Absolutely. What's been great is that the fragrances have really resonated with the customers. And I think now we've become a brand that's known for its fragrances. Even though we were deodorant to begin with, people have been asking us, please make this into a shower gel. Please make this into an EDP. So you can definitely expect more fragrances from ACT, and our fragrances being in different products.
Everything we're making is going to be performance-led, fragrance-led, innovative, and sustainable. They are the 4 pillars we always want to hit. That's why things take so long for us to make. We could have released this 2 years earlier if it was not plastic-free. But we're, like I said, we refuse to put anything out there that we don't believe in.
Well, I, for one, will be really excited to see what you do next. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me on Making Sense Make Sense.
Thank you so much. I hope we made sense.
At points, yes. You did a great job. Honestly, I could have sat there chatting with Ed and Andy for hours, long past the point at which they would have actually wanted me to leave. But I am not above being kicked out of somewhere. It's happened before, and it will happen again. I really like how genuine they both are, and also how open they are about their journey. You hear a lot of founder stories, and you can't help but get a few pings on the old bullshitometer, and think, is this really what happened? But with Ed and Andy, it's totally genuine. They had a problem, the problem being that they stank. No offense, guys, your words, not mine. And they set out to fix that problem, and in doing so, created this really fantastic, authentic brand with a product that simply works. And I think that really needs to be celebrated. And we should celebrate them also for thinking about fragrance so deeply in that process. They could have bought fragrance off the shelf. They could have gone to any fragrance house and said, look, we just need something that smells nice. Can you sell us that? Whatever's cheapest. But they didn't do that. They thought very holistically about the whole product and how it makes people feel and what the presentation was. And that's really how lots of brands who create fine fragrance think. We think in concepts, we think in emotion, and we think in storytelling. And that's something that ACT has in abundance. So bravo, gentlemen, a standing ovation for you and your deodorant and other body products. I genuinely really was blown away when I smelled their latest launch, Hay Fever. Great name. I was smelling it sprayed out of the bottle rather than in a deodorant balm, so I wasn't smelling it in the final base or the final product. But that gave me kind of an interesting perspective on it, and it really had the complexity and quality of an eau de parfum, which I just thought was amazing. That they could make this product so much cheaper if they just really didn't think about the fragrance, and they have created something that is so qualitative and something that is so beautiful and fun. That's great. Don't you think they're having fun? And one of my big mantras is, let's have fun. It's just fragrance. Let's not overthink it. It is smelly water. So I can't wait to see what they do next. I'm sure they've got lots of exciting things coming. If you want to know more about ACT, you can follow them on Instagram at AKT London. That's AKT_LDN. Or you can head to aktlondon.com. I'll put those details in the show notes for you so you can find them. Anyway, that's it. That is the end of season 1. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as I've enjoyed making it. I set out to have interesting conversations about scent with fascinating people from all over the industry, and I really hope that's what I've achieved. It's been really, really fun connecting and engaging with you all. So that's it for now. I will be back with season 2 towards the end of the summer, and it promises to be an even bigger season. I have lots and lots of wonderful things planned. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic summer. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. But to end the season, I will hand over to my esteemed guests for the wonderful encore. Ladies and gentlemen, you love them. You're their fans. For one night only, it's Ed and Andy.
It was like 2009, Abercrombie and Fitch released that fragrance that every boy was wearing, and the boys that I fancied at college would wear it. And I don't know, whenever I smell it on the street now, I'm literally I'm so aroused by it. Even though it's so cheap and tacky, I'm like, oh my God, it just brings me back to, late teen years.
Tacky bitch. I mentioned it earlier about that wooden fence that I walked past. It just gets waft of like drying out wood on like freshly cut wood, it feels like, but it smelled like my friend's garden's playhouse at the end of the garden, which was the most wonderful summers as a child.
Did you fancy him?
It was 2 girls.